Hello, today we are going to cover the Expedition Basic, the crafting system that is linked to Expedition. I'm going to give you some tips to farm more effectively the Expedition because it's counterintuitive for the beginner player. There will be a way to unlock Atlas points and my recommendation on what Atlas point to take, a quick guide for the Pinnacle boss that is linked to Expedition, and I will finish this video by my insight on Expedition and when you should run in the league, at what time in the league you should run an Expedition. Expedition are represented by this icon on the map, and you can induce them through the tablets or you can find them normally through going to the map. By going through the map, you will end up in the excavation camp, which you can recognize with the blue icon that you see on your map or on the minimap that you appear here. This will contain different things. The first thing that it will contain is an NPC. If it's the first time that you see it, is going to join your hideout later on, and you will be able to buy some gear from him. You will see some remnant which are blue, and you will see some remnant that are yellow. I'm going to talk about them later. You will see those signs with this expedition symbol. Color of the banner is indicating the rarity of the chest, white, blue or yellow for rare chest. And you will see those stick into the ground that are everywhere. You will also have the explosive placement that you see on the bottom that is appearing when you're entering the site. Now the goal is going to be to place those explosives and to cover different kind of things. So the first thing that you want to cover is eventually the remnant that are going to increase the monster difficulty, but they are going to give you some benefit. So this is going to be the monster that the benefits the monster will get, and this is what you're gonna get. And if you see that there is something that is yellow, then it's potentially build breaker. So if you are doing some fire damage, then you do not want to have this remnant. If you are doing some chaos damage, you do not want this one. So you want to avoid it. And then placing an explosive will have a certain range, and then what you want is to hit the totem that are everywhere that are going to spawn a unique monster. The totem I mentioned is the red flag that are stick everywhere on the ground. Then you see that you have a certain area where you can place the explosive, so you just want to place as much explosive as possible. My strategy is going to look at the remnant, and then based on what they are providing you, I'm going to focus on either excavated chest or on the runic monster. If there is no benefit from one to another, then I'm going to focus on the runic monster because they are the one that are dropping the most tick coin and expedition logbook. Please note that if you see a remnant that is providing you with more logbook, this is the priority that you need to take, as logbook for maps that are above level 78 and above is the big money maker for the expedition, and it's also how you are going to unlock the pinnacle content and the Atlas skill tree that I'm going to talk later into the video. Be careful when you are running the expedition because the excavated chest, they are spawning usually in white and blue rarity, and it's very easy to mistake them for something that is not worth opening because it look like any kind of item that is not worth picking up. But it's very important that you do open them because you find a lot of things inside them. The main source of currency that you are going to make through expedition is going to be the expedition logbook and the exotic coinage that you will be able to sell to other players for a good amount of money. Okay, so now let's talk about the basic crafting system of expedition. When you have unlocked all the NPC, you will find 4 different NPC into your hideout. One NPC is going to provide you an exchange rate between the sun artifact to the other artifact. You are going to find one that is selling you a belt for the Blacksmith artifact. You are going to see one that is selling you armor pieces and one that is selling you weapon pieces for the Broken Circle. You can reset what you see using an exotic coinage. If you're interested with an item, you can actually just purchase it, and then if you click on buy, it's going to cost you a certain price. And what you can do is you can upgrade this using a random attribute change. So here you see the reroll prefix and it highlights what is going to change. And if you click on upgrade, you are going to spend an additional currency to change this prefix. You can choose to upgrade or you can choose to skip, but you can't skip twice in a row. As you are upgrading and skipping, this is going to change the reroll modifier that you have, or the additional things that you have is going to change. And at the end, when you want to purchase your item, you click on upgrade and purchase, and this is how you get the item. Now, regarding the expedition logbook, if you open the Danny expedition, you can place a logbook here and you will have the choice between two expeditions. And when you do so, you have a specific portal that is opening, and this portal is going to lead you to a much bigger map that is full with expedition, and you have a lot of explosive that you can place in this map. Note that you are not going to see the icon of the boss for maps that are below 79. So if you are running an expedition logbook that is 78, you're not going to see the icon of the boss. But what you can do is you can keep this logbook and you can wait for a certain point to be placed into the expedition atlas tree that is going to increase the difficulty of your map and potentially make spawn this icon of boss in level 78 notebook. Watch out for this icon when you are entering an expedition logbook, because this is signaling you that there is the possibility of entering the fight with the pinnacle bosses of expedition. If you do see this icon, I strongly recommend that you go and kill the boss, because he's looting some uniques and he's going to provide you 2 atlas points if you haven't maxed all the atlas points already for expedition. The second icon that is worth mentioning is probably like the blue hole for the underground expedition that is going to lead you into a cave that will contain multiple chests. So if you see it, it's worth mentioning that opening it will grant you a little bit of loot. Outside of that, the expedition logbook are very standard and very similar to expedition that you are going to see in your map. So switch to the guide of the boss that you are going to fight if you are opening the big school that I just mentioned before. So far, this fight is probably one of the easiest of the pinnacle boss that you have. The only thing that I strongly recommend is that you bring some resistances to cold and to freeze. The only attack that are going to be dangerous are the ones that are freezing you, and then potentially you're gonna get comboed with those attacks. So just bring some freeze resistances and some cold resistances and you should be fine with this fight. The first attack that is worth mentioning is the area that is going to create with his sword. You just want to be away when the sword is hitting the ground. This is probably doing the most damage of all of his attack, so just move away and you should be fine. The area is going to persist on the ground, so if you don't have chill resistances, then it's going to slow you if you enter this area, which is limiting the arena that you need to use to fight this boss. The second attack is a dash that is going to deal moderate amount of damage. You just need to avoid it. He's usually doing it just after creating the area that I just mentioned before. Third attack is he's going to throw his sword, and the sword is going to come back to him like a boomerang. Just be careful when the sword is coming back not to take damage from it. The next attack is the wave that is going to send in front of him in the form of a cone that is going to be targeted at you. So you just want to run in circle to avoid those cones, to avoid having the damage and the freeze build up that is going to bring. As the life of the boss is going down, you see that the sign that at the beginning is not doing anything is going to fire a beam of ice on the ground that is also going to increase the freeze build-up and the damage that this is going to do. The boss is going to heal himself when he's reaching low life, and the phase 2 is going to start. That is extremely similar to phase 1, it's just the moves that are going to be a little bit quicker. And the sign on the side that is going to throw more things at you. Please also note that as you're increasing the difficulty of this fight, you are going to have more sign on the side, and you're also going to have some ads that are going to spawn that are not very dangerous and that are very relevant. That's it for this fight. Now, regarding the atlas point that you want to be using, you want to use, to start with this, having 50% more runic monster markers. More runic monster mean more loot, so this is something that is always good. And then you want to go here and get an increased quantity of expedition logbook. Expedition logbook is the big money maker for this, so having more logbook is always good, and this is your priority. Then you have 2 options. The first option, if you have a solid build, is to go here, having more prefix and suffix modifier, which means more loot. And the other option, if it's a safer option, is to go here and having more exotic coinage. Now, if you're not interested of running expedition, I do recommend that you go for the first 4 points and getting more logbook, because every time that you run into an expedition you can get some logbook and then you can sell it. I don't think it's worth having more than those 4 points if you're not planning to run expedition to make currency in this game. Now I will finish by my insight on expedition. On this league I didn't run a lot of expedition. I tried a lot of the other content, but I didn't run expedition. I believe that this is a good way to start the end game because the pinnacle boss is not very complicated to run as long as you know what to expect from it. So I do recommend to run expedition at the beginning of a league because it's not very difficult to make some money out of it. I don't think it's an end game content that is worth running when the league is very advanced. I think that there is things that are more rewarding for very advanced leagues, such as the ritual at the moment into the game. I'm not an expert on expedition, so maybe there is some people into the comment that will say that I'm wrong and then they make a lot of money with expedition. I did not manage to make that much money with expedition compared to the rest of the content into the game. I would definitely try at the beginning of the next league to run more expedition to see if I'm missing something out, but I believe that right now it's really good at the beginning of the league, but as the league is progressing, it's probably better to run other content such as the ritual or the breaches. If you are interested with the other content, I make similar video for the rest of the content, ritual, simulacrum and breaches, so please check out my video. If this video helped you, please consider subscribing to my channel. As you see, it's a very young channel and every sub count for me right now. You can also leave a like and a comment below, that will help me a lot for the referencing of this video. Thank you very much for watching and see you on the next video.